Hey cousins, welcome to another episode of Respectfully. I hope you are all having a fantastic day, and if your name is Shannon Sharpe, I know you are not. So, no shade to Shannon Sharpe. Actually, there is going to be a little bit of shade because you know this is Respectfully. But if you are not familiar with what is going on, he just got fired from ESPN. And if you don't know who Shannon is at all, walk with me, I'll walk you through it. So Shannon Sharpe is a pro football Hall of Famer. He's a three-time Super Bowl champion and former tight end for the Denver Broncos and Baltimore Ravens. He transitioned to being a media mogul with a massive following on ESPN's First Take and his podcast Club Shay Shay, where he spills all type of tea with celebrities like Monique, Cat Williams, Meg Thee Stallion, etc. Now, he is known for his loud and brash personality, but lately he has been known for being freaky with a side of Diddy. Oh yes, he has been fired from ESPN due to his Diddy allegations, essentially. And we are going to be talking about all of that and the zesty downfall of Shannon Sharpe. You know the vibes. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, send in your super chats. Welcome to Respectfully. Shannon Sharpe, your bills have been affected, young man. I hate to break it to you. I'm not here to celebrate the downfall of a young black king. Well, not young, middle-aged black king, but that's Rodriguez already being shady. So Shannon, his bills have been affected. He has been fired. It was breaking news today and all over the shade room and everything, of course. So just to give a little background of why he got fired, just weeks after this massive settlement that has gone on, where on July 18th, 2025, the lawsuit was settled for an undisclosed amount of money between him and an OF girl. I'm going to call it Only Friends because if I say what OF actually is, then YouTube is going to probably suppress this video. But one of his only friends, Tatiana's, sued him for $50 million. She ended up settling, or he ended up settling. It's undisclosed, but people are saying that it's about $23 million. That's what's speculated that he ended up having to pay this woman. Now, both sides have now since acknowledged that it was a long-term consensual but tumultuous relationship. And the case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they cannot spin the block. It can't be refiled or anything of that nature, which I don't know why she would if she got even a fraction of this $23 million that's being discussed. Now, 2 weeks after the settlement, which was yesterday actually, is when Shannon Sharpe got fired and the news ended up breaking. Now, there's so much that we need to unpack when it comes to this whole situation. And it was only a matter of time before he got fired. You know, Shannon was optimistic that he was going to get his job back, but ever since he hadn't appeared on First Take since April, it was speculated that he was being fired. And the network stayed pretty quiet about it, but the sources have said that it was just unfeasible for them to bring him back. Now, since having to pay this only Friends model about $23 million, she has deleted her account. She has now become a conservative woman. I'm just kidding. I hope she has, but she's probably going to be a Republican at least now that she has all this money. She has deleted her OnlyFans account. She has deleted her OnlyFriends account. So Shannon Sharpe, you retired this OnlyFriends girl. You retired this OF girl before you could even retire yourself. Shannon Sharpe, if I send a pic of Shannon, you ain't as sharp. She's retired. You're fired. Karma has transpired. Lakers in 5. Now, here's Shannon's reaction to the news breaking that he got fired. Pull up the shade room, chair.
Obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week. And really, the only thing that I really ask is, like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this coming out would overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. And so as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You're done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring my audience that saw me really just grow.
I really don't even dislike Shannon Sharpe. Don't be confused by me roasting him, but I think he deserves to be roasted. I really do, because him being fired for the reasons he was fired, which we're going to get more into in just a little bit of the background of this zesty downfall. I saw it coming. I don't know how he didn't see it coming. And I do wish that they could have waited until after everything, with his brother getting his flowers, because I do know what he's saying there. Like, that's kind of messed up that they couldn't wait just a few more days. But at the same time, ESPN is not operating on your time, okay? And neither is the judicial system. So that being said, I want to go into the comment section just to show a little bit of the roasting that's happening, because if you ever want to know the state of the culture, go to the Shade Room comments. Can we switch it over to my laptop view? So if we look over here, we see... Meanwhile, she's an instant millionaire who didn't even have to ride nor die. Ain't that something? The roast of Shannon Sharpe is crazy. Lust is truly a man's downfall. Literally, being, thirsty is what has led to this man losing out on millions of dollars, a $6.5 million salary. He got fired and she retired. Lakers at 5. He was told twice by Monique and Kat. Oh, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that tea as well. Like, she's retired. He fired. I'm tired. Lakers in 5. They never learn. I have no sympathy for him. We don't. I also have to talk about some of the celebrity reactions, because Meek Mill, Nicki Minaj, Miki Lewinsky, Meeky Mills from Philly says, y'all too old to be getting fired. Meek Mill, I know you're not jumping in. You crotchety bastard. Meek Mill, I know you did not just jump. Okay, first comment here is the T. You was too old to be getting ran through by Diddy, but we ain't judging. I'm judging. Okay, Meek Mill, we know what you and Diddy were allegedly doing, and I'm not even mad at you living your life, but I'm mad at the fact that you were putting your hands on Nicki Minaj. You were putting your hands on Meek Mill, you put your hands on Nicki Minaj while Diddy was putting his hands on you, and only one of those was consensual. So you really have no business coming at Shannon Sharpe, okay, because your day is coming too if it hasn't already. So how dare Meek Mill jump in? But okay, we can get off my we're already off my laptop view. Cool. So going back to this whole situation, Monique and Cat Williams warned you, Shannon Sharpe. You knew this was going to happen, messing around with this OF girl. You're this extremely wealthy man, extremely wealthy, black, braggadocious man, messing around and being a snow bunny enthusiast. And now look what happened to you. Let's roll the clip of what Monique and Cat Williams tried to tell him.
Monique and Cat Williams tried to warn Shannon.
This dating thing, Mo, is different now. When you and I...
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
But you trying to say that? What you trying to say, Mo?
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at your
I ain't backing down. You better
Period.
take your and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs. Let me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your get you an old out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon.
And I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not gonna act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kang the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit ass down in 2 weekends.
Okay, look. I have the same energy with Leo DiCaprio. I am really just thrown off and just a little grossed out by the premise of, like, I can understand always wanting a younger woman. Like, that makes sense. Like, younger, objectively, more often than not, more attractive. However, there is a limit to that, to where it just becomes inappropriate. What does a man deep into his 50s that has traveled and seen the world have to talk to a 19-year-old about? Oh, yes, this girl and now we're getting into the real tea. This girl that sued him and won this massive settlement from him, he met her when she was 19. What is it there for you to talk about? To me, inherently, that's just predatory. It's crazy to me to think about that if a 20-year-old is having an intimate relationship with a 16-year-old, they're going to be registered as a sex offender, potentially for life, depending on the state. But a man who is 56 years old is talking to this 19-year-old, and there isn't still stigma. Is it different? Yes, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I know it's different because those are two consensual consenting adults, period. I agree. I'm not saying it should be illegal, but I do think it deserves a side eye because at that point, it's just weird. Like if it was someone at least 26, I'll at least give him that. When he was talking to the 26-year-old, I can at least give you that. Okay, I can understand that. But before the age of 25, when you're deep into your 50s, pushing 60, is that not a little weird? You got to leave these women alone, these young girls alone. She can't even drink yet. She can't even drink yet. And you sending her the freak nasty messages that we're going to get. I'm not going to show the messages because they're way too rated R. This is PragerU. Shout out to PragerU. Go ahead and click the link in the description. Go to PragerU.com. Watch all their educational videos. But because of that, we're not going to get into the nastiness of those messages. But I do need Shannon Sharpe to realize he put himself in this situation. What did you think was going to happen messing around? Now, the zesty downfall, I feel like, started way before, the lawsuit that he had with this girl. And I started realizing that something weird was going on with Shannon Sharpe all the way back in September. Because I don't know if y'all know this, but do you remember or did you hear about how back in September, Shannon Sharpe went on Instagram Live literally having intercourse on Instagram Live? He wasn't visible, but you could hear the whole discussion happening. And he swears up and down. Well, first he tried to say he was hacked. It's like you would have been better off just lying and saying it happened on accident. I don't think it was an accident at all, nor at all do I think that you were hacked, because even if you were hacked, that live was from your phone. If that's the case, somebody hacked Apple. I can understand somebody hacking your Instagram account, but nobody hacked your Apple iPhone, okay? Like, unless you are beefing with somebody in like Iran or something, like I really don't think that someone hacked your phone, turned on your Instagram Live, and you were just not realizing that it happened. To be honest, I think it was on purpose for him to beat some of the allegations, because there have been allegations that this man is a part of the LGBTDL community. And you know what? We love you living your life, but the notorious Shay Zesty stance, and I'm not even hating on it. I'm not hating. Live Shannon Sharpe. But ever since the allegations started coming out and people started clocking the screenshots of him looking bow-legged and pigeon-toed, looking like Beyonce and Solange Knowles at the same time, ever since these allegations started coming out, he just became this hypersexual person, or at least his public image became that. Maybe he always was, but I feel like there's a bit of overcompensating that started, and with him posting the video on accident of him having intercourse, I feel like that was his attempt to beat the allegations, because after that, the allegations slowed down. And all of a sudden, everything I hear about him is hypersexual in nature. Then we now fast forward to the whole reason why he got fired. Y'all still with me here? Because this situation is crazy. So in April of 2025, a woman then known as Jane Doe, we know her name now is Gabby/Carly. I forgot which one is her OF name, which one is not. But let's call her Carly, or let's call her Gabby to keep it simple. She filed a $50 million lawsuit in Nevada accusing Sharpe of sexual assault, battery, emotional distress, and during their nearly 2-year relationship starting in 2023 when she was 19, said that there was all this going on. And he met this girl when she was a teenager at the gym. Again, she was only 19 when he was the big age of 54. Why are you okay? You approached her in the gym, one thing, but maybe even a lady of the night, I can understand, like somebody have a little fling with, but 2-year relationship with a 19-year-old is crazy. That I'm 28 years old and I wouldn't even date somebody 19. That's insane. So the allegations also include that he raped her twice, once in Las Vegas in October 2024 and again in January of 2025, and that he also allegedly recorded the sexual encounters without consent, and was being very controlling and very violent. Now, Shannon Sharpe's response to this is claiming that this whole thing was a shakedown, and insisting that the relationship was 100% consensual. And his lawyer, Lanny Davis, also claims that the text messages prove that the whole thing was consensual. And the thing is I believe it. I do believe that it was consensual. I also believe that you put yourself in this situation. You literally effed around and found out, because the things that were in these text messages, and if you want to read these rated R texts, you can go ahead and do it. I'm not going to, because it's a little too nasty for my platform, child. But it talks about things such as choking her when he sees her. And it's all this like BDSM and racist fetishizing role play, which is very, very, very bizarre. And I mean, I'm not going to yuck your yum, but like it's all this stuff that's going on. And the fact that you put that through text, it's like you were begging for this. And the whole reason I even give that detail is because clearly in the lawsuit, they removed a lot of the context. They showed, very targeted text messages or recordings or voice recordings that you could tell, like if you look at the bigger picture, it was more flirtatious. And it was like kind of this BDSM type of dynamic, and trying to keep it PG here, but as much as I can talk about the craziness of the situation. But he removed Tony Busby is the lawyer. Tony Busby clearly removed the context to make this all look crazy. Now, if you don't remember or recall, Tony Busby is this notoriously slimy attorney that is always infamously taking down prominent black men or just prominent men in Hollywood in general. He loves to be in the spotlight. He also was the person that led the lawsuit against Jay-Z. While I do believe there are many lawsuits that need to be filed against Jay-Z allegedly, and I do believe that Jay-Z's alleged time is coming, the lawsuit that ended up coming to fruition at the end of last year, actually, I didn't buy it for 1 second. That lawsuit had to do with there was a girl that claimed that when she was 13 years old that she was SA'd by Jay-Z, and this happened right at the same time as Blue Ivy Carter, Jay-Z's eldest daughter, was having her Lion King premiere. Now, in my book, if you look at this, I mean, pretty much how the whole public saw it, clearly you had Jay-Z who wanted to stand behind his daughter and his wife, Blue Ivy's big day, this huge moment for her. The whole plan was do the lawsuit now because he's going to want to settle it quickly so that the lawsuit doesn't overshadow Blue Ivy's moment. But a lot of people were even wondering, is Jay-Z going to show up or not? But they came as a united front. And I understand all the criticisms against Jay-Z and Beyonce. As you guys know, I have my fair share of criticisms against them too, even just look at my recent episodes. But I will say that that situation was very unfair to them. And I'm glad that that whole frivolous lawsuit got dropped. But that's Tony Busby. So I do 100% believe the notion that Tony Busby conspired with this OF girl that was dating Shannon Sharpe to go after Shannon Sharpe and take all the money. And I do believe it was a shakedown. But the thing is, it was a shakedown that worked. He settled. So Shannon Sharpe settled, again, for this undisclosed amount of money that people were speculating was $23 million. But before he even settled, he tried to offer her, before any of this even really popped off, he allegedly tried to offer her $10 million to stay quiet. Because in his mind and in his perspective, which I believe is true, is that the $10 million to get her to be quiet was going to cost significantly less than the reputational damage that he is now enduring. But the gag is you not only ended up having to pay more than that, you settled for twice that amount of money and still got fired. And still look like a freak, and you still look nasty. And I think this is one of those lessons where it's a double-edged sword, where I feel bad for Shannon because I do believe that everything that happened in this situation was consensual, a bit intense, but consensual. But at the same time, it's like you put yourself in that situation by being a man in his mid-50s who brags about his wealth and brags about his lifestyle and brags about sleeping with all these women and even goes live having intercourse with these women. And then next thing you know, these same recordings and videos and all the type of stuff you do publicly ends up getting exposed. And now you've lost your money. It's hard to feel sorry for you. In the Me Too era, you should have been moving accordingly. As a public figure, you need to be moving accordingly. And the fact that there are no criminal charges tells me a lot. The fact that there's no criminal charges against Shannon Sharpe tells me that much more, that I think everything here was consensual, as it sounds like the OF girl has also agreed to. But the thing is, it's like you still wrecked your reputation. Your bills are now affected. There is power in the tears of a white woman. And now, low-key, you got your karma. And part of why I'm like so annoyed with Shannon Sharpe too is like, he hasn't particularly been the best person publicly recently. Not saying that I'm a perfect person by any means, but this is the same man who not only was bragging about his lifestyle to the point that it was his own downfall, messing with a woman that is almost a third of his age, and doing so while having $100 million deal on the table. He is the same person going around saying, I don't date my age, I date my wage. Well, now that she's retired and you're fired, y'all might be the same tax bracket. You might as well get back together. She's in your wage now. You made her a multimillionaire while you're broke. Your bills are affected. And then this is the same man who on camera told his daughter that this very, very wealthy man told his daughter that her budget for the wedding was $30,000 and for her to serve spaghetti. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that $30,000 is a tiny amount of money, but when you're a man making $6.5 million from just one of your bags, when you also have a lucrative podcast deal worth $100 million on the table, and you're an NFL legend and you're worth millions and millions, I don't know his full net worth, but the man's extremely wealthy. $30,000 for your daughter's wedding budget is crazy. Come on. That is crazy. Because first of all, does that even cover the open bar? Because don't invite me to a wedding with no open bar. No shade, hot take. That needs to be on the invitation. I need to know if there's an open bar. Not even saying I'm going to get drunk like that, but I need an open bar because I'm not about to come all the way to this wedding, spend all this money putting my Sunday best on just for the bar to be closed and for you to be serving spaghetti. Serving spaghetti is crazy. And also, let me know in the comments. I need to know this because I feel like this differentiates black people from white people. Is spaghetti a main course or a side dish? I need you all to let me know because I didn't realize how ratchet my background was until I grew up and realized that other cultures don't look at spaghetti and say, where's the meat? Only in the black community, I feel like, do we look at a plate of spaghetti and think that that's the side dish and then look for the pork chop to be with it. But I digress. But now, this is also karma because Shannon Sharpe spent years and years and years degrading Ocho Cinco, another football legend, degrading Ocho Cinco when they had a show together, saying that he was not professional enough to be on ESPN. But now look at you, Shannon Sharpe. You're a freaknik. You are a freak-off participant, according to the court of public opinion, and apparently to this settlement. And you used to drag Ocho Cinco. If you know, you know. I don't know how sports heavy my audience is, but if you know, you know. He used to drag Ocho Cinco for being unprofessional. And now look at you. And his past allegations are now coming to light. He has a 2010 defamation suit and settled in a whole incident. He had another settlement where he allegedly choked a woman back in 2010. It's like, come on, Shannon. Everything in the dark has come to the light, and your bills have been affected. I really should have made you the goofy of the day. I don't dislike Shannon Sharpe, but I dislike stupidity, and I dislike stupid decisions. And when in doubt, listen to Monique. If I have learned anything over the last few years of pop culture, when Monique is sitting there and she's giving you that look, that's a woman you need to believe. Look at her. I feel her pain. Monique might tell a joke, but she will never tell a lie. And that's all I have to say about that. I hope you enjoyed this little tea session, cousins. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know if spaghetti is a main course or a side dish, and I will talk to you soon.